Maintenance of different components of MFP. All removable parts of MFP components have specific lifespans, and the solution is to change them before they deteriorate.
So you don't have to wait until when the components are in a waste situation. Maybe for the maize mill, you don't have to wait the grinding blades to be blunt.
As to improve the quality of the services provided by each component of MFP, the operator has to do the following. Starting with the engine.
Every morning, before you start the engine, you make sure that all moving parts are lubricated using the motor oil. There are oil which are common as a lubricant. Oil number 40. Number 40, I don't know here in Uganda. Then you have to make sure that the bolts, because the engine will be tightened to the chassis using the bolts and nuts. So you have to make sure that the bolts and nuts are well tightened, because during operation the engine causes a lot of vibration. So also another thing which is very important to the engine is that he has to change the engine oil.
Engine oil after every 30 days if the engine operates less than 8 hours per day, or after 15 days if the engine operates more than 8 hours per day. Change the oil filter after every second changing of the oil. Clean the air filter with water or petrol after 2 rounds of oil changing.
So this comes to the point when I said that the operator should keep records of how he runs this MFP. Because if you don't keep records, then you will not know that you've run your engine in more than 8 hours per day or less than 8 hours per day.
Regular checkups. Check the belt state. If worn out, consider on changing them. When the engine stops suddenly, it's an indicator that the injector nozzle is dirty and therefore should be cleaned using diesel. Engine stop can also be experienced when using unclean diesel. Jatropha oil is not a problem to the engine if the oil is cleaned and filtered properly.
And if you want to clean the nozzle, do not use water, you use diesel. Also, you have to observe the strange noise of the engine. If you notice that there is sound which is not clear, then you have to make sure that you check on the bearings. If they are worn up, then you have to change them or you replace. But also you have to check the injector pump.
Tighten the screw and bolts that connect the exhaust pipe to the engine. Check tension in the injector pump spring. Clean the air intake hole of the engine regularly to avoid explosion of the engine. Note: change the spring of the injector pump when loose. Loose springs hinder fuel transfer to the engine. Oil seals on the crankshaft can break. In such cases, oil will be observed in the cooling water tank. If this happens, replace the seals and change the cooling water. Change piston rings if the engine emits too much smoke. The milling machine. Regular checks. Make sure that all bolts are well tightened to avoid vibrations during operations. Make sure the sieve is in good condition. When worn out, it should be replaced. Make sure that the grinding blades are in good condition. If worn out, replace. Make sure that the bearings are lubricated by grease all the time. Make sure that belts connecting machine to the engine are in good condition, and when worn out, they should be replaced. Clean the machine by a clean, dry cloth every after processes. For the alternator, lubricate the bearings regularly. Remove the dust using a clean duster. For the oil press, reschedule activities. The double roller wheels have to be greased every after 3 weeks. Regular services. Lubricate the wheel gears using grease and then clean them using a duster. Be sure not to get water into the processing chamber. Lubricate the bearings of the water pump and the chain using high viscous grease. Clean the oil sieve all the time so that oil passes through easily. Sundara oil press screw. Note that in case the pressing screw is worn out, it can be welded or sharpened by a qualified technician. Change the pressing blades when they wear out. If the press is used for Jatropha, the pressing screw will be worn out after 500 bags of Jatropha seeds or 300 bags if the seeds are not clean. When the wheel is worn out, the chain will not fit and it will be noticed by some unusual sound in the machine. The trapped cakes should be removed all the time to avoid blockage of the outlet.